Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. I hope you're ready to have some fun because I'm ready to have some fun. We are going to cover today a grilling scandal of embarrassing epic proportions for Bulldog Mafia. We're going to cover Newt Gingrich's suspension press conference where he read his resume. We're going to review Junior Seau and Mrs. Seau's heartbreaking press conference. And I posted last night that I'm sure Barack Obama will do something we made fun of. Well, guess what? The girlfriends are finally writing books. Yeah, baby. Let me see, what else do we have? George Washington's mom actually smoked a pipe. How do you like that? And
what was in it?
That's a good question. And also, we are rolling out, although we have to tweak it because I forgot we're going to go with a weasel. But we are rolling out the great tasting, slimy living green water. No artificial flavors or colors. I'm going to hold this up, but this is just, it's going to get edited. There'll be no Bulldog here. Where the Bulldog is, there's going to be a weasel. And then where Bulldog Nation is, it's going to be sold at, is it Queen Kick? Queen Kick. So how do you like this, folks? This is going to be the official logo. Great tasting, slimy green water. We've got to get the weasel in here. We'll have it finalized tomorrow. We got to get the weasel and sold at Queen Kick.
And the weasel will not be airbrushed.
The weasel is not going to be airbrushed. I'm telling you. And then Brad Amster, who's thinking, he's thinking. We're going to have like the green water person of the day with a certificate. I think we're going to give the first one to Newt. How many people suspend their political campaign by doing this? And then I did this, and then when I got out of school, I worked with Joe Johnson, and we did this, and then I went to a think tank, and da-da-da. I mean, who reads their resume at a suspension of the campaign press conference?
Kind of late at that point, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it. But until we get to these important matters, also, this is great. I made the front page of the Kentucky Enquirer.
You deserve Oracle status.
Oh, my goodness, I do, don't I? The front page of the Kentucky Enquirer about my bar battle in Kentucky, and I just love it. Any day now, I'll be hearing from the Kentucky Supreme Court, and Jay Garrett is going to eat crow. And I predict he will be fired. He will be fired just like his boss, Linda Gosnell.
Crow tastes a lot better when you wash it down with green water.
There you go. But here is the story of the day. Yesterday, the girls in the office, led by Loretta and Maria, they said, we ought to get a grill out here, and every Friday grill hamburgers and hot dogs and sit on a picnic table if the weather's nice. And I said, that's a great idea. So I authorized the underboss. These are the type of important things the underboss does. I authorized the underboss, Chuck Holbrook, to secure a grill. Now, some mafias would steal the grill. We didn't. We paid for the gas grill. Anyway, the grill's outside. Now, this has got Sopranos written all over it, okay? Chuck says, come on out, man. I want you to check out the grill. And he says, we don't want to talk in the office because the bugs might be in there, the hidden microphones. So, let's face it, a godfather and the underboss, they talk outside, right? By a grill. It's perfect. So Chuck wants to, memorialize this with a photograph. All right, so we memorialized it with a photograph and put it up on Facebook, Godfather and underboss. There was just one major problem.
What's that?
And ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and TC, that problem was Chuck just wanted to make sure the grill worked, so he threw on the grill some very basic, some very small, some very unimpressive hot dogs, a.k.a. wieners. And it is embarrassing to see Chuck and I holding grill equipment, looking at the camera with very small hot dogs grilling, as opposed to, a godfather and underboss ought to have big, thick steaks.
Doesn't look too impressive, huh?
So I told him, I said, you go get the biggest steaks you can get from wherever you can get them. Today, we redo the picture. It's embarrassing. And it was fun. It was fun listening to the cracks coming from our fans about the picture because everybody noticed it. Can you imagine that? A Godfather grilling wieners.
Yeah, well, some other people might have grill envy.
And then there's a rumor that there was a hidden microphone underneath the grill planted by the FBI. Glad we don't commit any federal crimes or state crimes that we know of.
Correct.
You can accidentally commit a misdemeanor. You can't accidentally commit a felony.
You sure?
Felonies usually have intent. And I don't know if you guys, I just want to talk about stupid stuff this first section, and then we'll get into the news. Did you see the pictures of those 5 Occupy Cleveland people?
No.
These guys look like hoodlums. And Dennis Miller last night on O'Reilly said it was the starting 5 of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you ought to see these guys' pictures like, ooh. I mean, they look like occupiers. And here's what's so funny. If you haven't heard this story, they got wind that they wanted to blow up a bridge. So what did the authorities do? They helped them get some CPAC, what's it called? I forget what it's called. Dynamite.
We don't know about
but
this
anyway,
explosive stuff. We
explosive
don't do that
stuff.
kind of thing.
Yeah, my mafia doesn't use explosives. Anyway, bottom line is, we just use a match. I'm just joking. Anyway, bottom line is, they sold them stuff that they knew was going to work. They even gave them detonators. They gave them everything they needed. They watched the jackwagons hook the stuff up to the bridge. They watched the jackwagons go someplace to detonate it. And they just played it all the way out and then arrested them. Well, that didn't work very good. But you ought to see these clowns' pictures. I mean, it's like, no wonder they got busted.
Ted Williams wasn't one of the occupiers, was he?
No.
The guy with the great pipes doing Cavaliers games?
And here's what's great about it is that now these cities across the country are going to have this as an excuse to say we're not going to give. Like Cleveland, they revoked the occupier's license. They say, man, if you're going to try to blow up our bridges. Oh, and then last night, following up on the story, on Hannity, Michelle Malkin, I love her. She is so smart and tougher than a pine knot, is debating Juan Williams about this. And Juan Williams makes a comment about Tea Partiers making a comment about calling the president a monkey and all this stuff and going on. Michelle Malkin said, name one. Give me one name. Give me one example of that, of the Tea Party being racist. One example. Juan Williams goes, well, I don't have any evidence. And Michelle Malkin says, that should be the takeaway. You admit you said something like that without any evidence whatsoever. Michelle Malkin's point was, these occupiers are anarchists. They commit crimes. The Tea Party's been a peaceful, hardworking revolution. If you disagree with the Tea Party, fine. But guess what, folks? They haven't been racist. They haven't broken laws. They show it up peacefully. They even clean up their own mess. They proved that with Glenn Beck's rally. Michelle Malkin just nailed Juan Williams, who was going, sounded like Glenn Vermason in a debate. Oh, man. So what do you think about this grill? Don't you think, what a scandal. The other mafias, it's already coming in. The mafia from Cleveland, the mafia from Chicago, the mafia from New York, Jersey, Miami, Vegas. They're sending me texts and emails, TC, making fun of that picture.
Right.
It's gone national in the world, in the mafia world. They're making fun of the Bulldog and the underboss grilling wieners on a grill. We are the laughing stock of the mafia in the country right now.
However, Cincinnati occupiers are respectful. They would never think to blow up a bridge.
Well, you know what? I will say this: the Cincinnati occupiers, the anarchists they are, but I understand they have not done anything bad to my knowledge. You are correct.
And I honestly think that
let's be fair and balanced.
I think the occupiers and the Tea Party ought to get together. They really should.
You know what? They are both anti-government.
Yeah.
Let's conclude this segment with just honoring Captain Bruce K. Clark, 43 of Spencerport, New York, and Sergeant Nicholas Dickut, 23 of Rochester, Minnesota, who lost their lives serving our great country in the military. We have coming up, we got a great day in history. Great quote from George Washington. And we're going to put the mafia scandal to bed. We are going to retake the picture. We're going to cover Newt's press conference. Barack had girlfriends. They're writing books. Talk radio is going to be good. This one said apparently that he was conflicted, that he looked too white. That's
He was
best.
conflicted.
He looked too white. Well, he called himself Barry. If you call yourself Barry, you look more white. This is the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160.
Find out what's on Bill O'Reilly's mind this morning. Bill O'Reilly's Talking Points at 7:28 on Real Talk 1160. And now back to the front page of the Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Real Talk 1160. I'm ready to roll. Let's get through it. Let's get to it now. George Washington, associate with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. TC, if I adhered to this, I may not be able to come into the studio. I'm just teasing. You're good company. Now, get this. This all happened today in history.
Okay.
Let's forget about the years. Washington, D.C. incorporated as a city.
Okay.
Macon Allen admitted, this was 1845, I got to mention that date, first black lawyer.
Okay.
West Virginia imposed the first state sales tax. It's gone downhill since then. Margaret Mitchell won the Pulitzer Prize for Gone with the Wind. World War II Battle of Coral Sea began. Japan formed a constitutional democracy in 1947. Wow. The Supreme Court ruled that covenants prohibiting the sale, this is despicable, I got a story about it, sale of real estate to blacks or members of other racial groups, legally unenforceable. True story. When I did title searches in Northern Kentucky as a young lawyer, I came across this in Fort Thomas. In Fort Thomas, there were deed restrictions. You could not sell your property to a black person. And let me tell you something. It was unconstitutional, so it didn't make any difference. Right. But despicable.
Now, when was that? Was that the year on that? Was that after?
Of 1950s.
Really?
1950s and 1960s.
Wow.
This decision came out in 1948. But people tried to do it. 1952, the first plane landed on the geographic North Pole. I got a question. I said geographic North Pole as opposed to a different North Pole.
Like the magnetic North Pole.
Yes. 1952, the Kentucky Derby was televised nationally for the first time on CBS. In 1979, Margaret Thatcher became the first woman prime minister. By the way, Hanson drew the 14th slot. Thank God it wasn't the 15th slot. Go, Hanson. Hanson's the local horse. I'm for Hanson, Dr. Hanson. He's having fun. You know what? He's right. You get one lucky horse in your lifetime, you're lucky, and he's riding this all the way to the end.
Yeah, but you know, Mitt Romney's going to win it all. He's going to win the Belmont, the Preakness, and Kentucky.
TC?
Yes.
When I'm getting rich and famous, by the way, this is true. True story. I cannot believe this. Gulfstream actually sent me an email yesterday with a picture of a big black jet with the Bulldog logo on it with a message saying, hey, we heard that you might be in the market for your own private jet. I'm like, what? Does somebody like fake how much money I got in the bank? No kidding. I got an email from Gulfstream trying to sell me. They even put my logo on it. Wow. In this picture. I have to admit, it looked good. But anyway, my point is, when I'm rich enough to buy that Gulfstream, TC, when we buy a Derby horse, and I'm going to cut you in on it, you ain't got to put up any money, buddy, unless you're as rich as me as my producer.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. It's going to be called Green Water.
Ah.
Green Water down the backstretch. Green Water.
Green Water slides into first place.
Famous birthdays for May 3rd. We have 4 good ones.
All right.
Greg Gumbel, 66.
Really?
Yep. James Brown. Bing Crosby. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. And Niccolo Machiavelli. Machiavelli. He wrote The Prince. He said, it is good to be loved and it is good to be feared, but if you have to choose one, be feared. Jay Garrett, you should fear the dog. I'm coming to get you. You think you got me, I got you. I got you, babe. All right, we've already did military deaths. God love them. Isolated storms today. PM storms. That's the afternoon on Friday. You know what? Bottom line is there's going to be some storms.
And you know what? We could see near record-breaking temperature. 82 is the high today. That high has been tied 3 times in the past, I don't know, 100 years, over 100 years, 1959, 28, and 1902 on this date.
Do you have the feel-good song ready?
The feel-good song is ready.
I'll tell you right now, TC. I got the best producer in the world.
Thank you. Who is he?
You. All right. This is Grand Funk Railroad. I'm going to do like Tommy Boy. Or no, down by the river. Grand Funk Railroad. Some kind of wonderful
That was wonderful.
that I could ask for. All right, guys, call your ladies, text them, tell them the dog's playing this song for her, for you. We got to find Down by the River again. Can you find that?
I got somewhere. We got it.
Yes, he is. Steve Jarnicki says his woman is some kind of wonderful. Yeah, 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 yeah. Bulldog Nation member Ryan says, hell yeah.
Crank it up to 11.
Oh, don't you love when that happens? Oh, yes. We're getting them to feel good, TC. I can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Jack Wiggins. Eric Holder says the use of resources for Clemens' trial was justified because he testified falsely before Congress. Really, Holder? You know something about that.
Yeah, wow.
Inspire. The Al-Qaeda magazine is calling for a massive firebomb campaign in the U.S. Al-Qaeda's has their own magazine, folks, and it's called Inspire. I'm surprised it's not called Forward.
I knew you were going
I beat
there.
you to it.
I knew you were going there.
Obama admits the girlfriend in his biography from 1995. Get this. This is hilarious, folks. Wasn't a specific girlfriend. It was a composite.
A composite.
Yeah, when I write my biography, I'm going to write about a composite.
He made her up.
Oh, my God, he made her up.
He made her up, just like that guy in Breakfast Club with a girlfriend that lived in Canada. Come on. You were never with that girl.
Some oracles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in a symbolic gesture, they signed Rutgers' Eric LeGrand, a paralyzed player who broke 2 vertebrae in a return against Army. That is awesome.
Wow.
That is awesome. He can say he had a pro contract.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal gets his doctorate in education from Barry University, Miami Shores, Florida. 3.8 GPA. You know what he apparently did? He apparently flew professors around when he was still playing basketball. No kidding. I heard this. That he flew them around. You know, when you're shocked. I could see him after the game in the locker room. Okay, professor, let's talk about this. I got some time as I'm getting dressed.
So what you're saying
Hey, get a
is
shower with me. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this. So George Washington, actually, when he was with the, I could see that, your own personal tutor. I mean, the guy was studying on the plane in between games. That's pretty good.
I'll bet you he's got a black golf stream that says Shaq.
Now it says Dr. Shaq.
Dr. Shaq. You got to love Shaquille O'Neal. Dr. Shaq.
Yeah.
And Rick Oliver, Fox 19's director of programming, won an award from the Ohio's community as an Ohio's community champion. Congratulations. When we come back, pop, pop, pop culture.
Yeah.
And a great joke on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. An old fellow was lying on his deathbed, and his wife sat at his side, patting his hand, and he wheezed to her, "Dear, I want you to make a solemn promise." "Of course, dear, anything you want," she says. "When I'm gone, I want you to marry Fred next door." "Well, okay. I thought you always hated Fred." "I do." Shakespeare for the day. To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night of the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man.
Wow.
Ho, ho, ho. One more time. To thine self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man. You know what? I need to be a Shakespeare player. Cincinnati Playhouse, if you're listening, you got a Shakespeare role for me. The dog wants to do some Shakespeare.
Thessalonius.
Just give me a cameo role.
You are Thessalonius.
I am Thessalonius.
Own it.
Own
That's
it.
your role.
I am Thessalonius. All right. Pop culture.
Yeah, baby.
The Scream. Oh, my goodness. Norwegian painter Edvard Munch set a record Wednesday when his 1895 pastel of a terrified man clutching his cheeks, kind of like the old Scream, $119 million. Oh, my God.
We're in the wrong business. We should be painters.
According to FHM magazine, the sexiest woman in the world, TC, please find a photo sometime in the next break. Tulisa, Tulisa, Tulisa Kontostavlos, an X Factor judge in Britain and former member of the hip-hop group N-Dubs, the sexiest woman in the world. Guess what? Yep, there's a sex tape. Stephen Colbert on Portman. Being the VP, nothing fires up the base like boring. Just look at those two together. It's like bland leading the bland. That's funny. YouTube bans Kate Upton dance video of her bouncing around in a bikini. They said, no. TC, we ought to find that as well. We got to find the Kate. Boy, we got some stuff worth checking out at the break. Courtney Love loses Cobain's image, likeness, and appearance rights. That's messed up. Santorum has a fan. Kim Kardashian said she was impressed by Rick Santorum because of the family connection he has with his daughters. Uh-oh! Scandal! Scandal. Ashton Kutcher's in some hot water because he put on brown face to play a Raj, a 39-year-old Bollywood producer, in an ad. Levi Johnston, yes, that's Bristol Palin's ex, is having a daughter, and he's going to name the baby Breeze Beretta.
Come on, what is it? Breeze?
Yes. And SpongeBob, believe it or not, SpongeBob is dropping. Watching SpongeBob Anytime dropped 29%.
Really?
Don't give up on SpongeBob.
I love SpongeBob.
I do too. In SquarePants. Let me see. In local news, that fire chief, David Downey, he's apparently going to fight back. You know what, David Downey? The Bulldog knows how you feel. If you've been prosecuted, if you've been unfairly treated, call the dog.
Well, he's in Fairfield, is it?
Fairfield.
So what's the deal with that? I saw that story coming.
Yeah, I don't know. He apparently went away on some kind of a mission, where you'd fly World War II vets to D.C.
Yeah.
Honor flight. Then they canned him. Apparently it was unjust.
Oh, come on.
I stand with David Downey without knowing all the facts. I will still stand with him.
Who needs the facts? They take it away.
Cincinnati voted 8-1 domestic partner benefits. That's important news.
Charlie Winburn said no.
That's right. Butler County former assistant prosecutor Jason Philibom has been charged with 2 felony counts of forgery, tampering with records, misdemeanor, dereliction of duty, interference with civil rights, and using a sham legal process. I believe this is vindictive. He ran against the current Butler County prosecutor. I like Mike Allen. Mike Allen says Jason Philibom is innocent. I attend, without knowing all the facts, will agree with Mike Allen.
And he did a great job when he ran the Reds.
Darn right he did.
Oh, that's not the same Mike Allen?
Let me see. DEA representatives collected more than 13 tons of prescription medications across Ohio on April 28th. Hope they were illegal. The NKU Student Union's been renamed after Jim Vitruba and First Lady Rachel Vitruba.
That's a long name, isn't it?
Yes. Occupy shut out in Cleveland. Cleveland has denied a request for the encampment permit. That's what happens when you try to blow up bridges.
And you get kicked out of Cleveland, there's nowhere else for you to go.
Exactly. Toledo?
Wow, yeah.
All right, here we go. Sports.
All right.
The Cubs beat the Reds 3-1, and I think this is interesting because Jeff Samardzija, the pitcher of the Cubs, was a wide receiver for Notre Dame. I was a big fan. He was a great wide receiver. I think he chose the right sport. Why? Baseball careers are longer.
Yeah.
And you make more money. Today, the Reds play at 12:35. Why don't we get a group together and go?
We ought to do that.
12:35. I worked all night. That's why I'm slap happy. I worked hard for my clients. While the Inquirer's writing about me, I'm working hard for my clients. And if Jay Garrett's listening, my Ohio clients.
I'm telling you, we ought to be nice to that guy. Send him some green water.
Man, just so everybody know, I tried. In other words, this is a long history, and it doesn't work. The Bengals have signed some free agents. You can check them out on my blog and newsletter. Very sad story from the NFL. Junior Seau was found dead Wednesday in his Oceanside home apartment. Apparent suicide. His girlfriend found him And Mrs. Sayal, when she came out there and spoke, was just, oh my God, heart-wrenching. She cried, please pray for me. You know, I wish I could go. I mean, It was the most heartbreaking press conference ever.
Is that like the third in like the past 6 months?
Yeah.
NFL suicide. Did he leave a note? Do we have any more details?
We don't know any more details. And they said parent suicide, but then they backed up a little bit. Girlfriend found him, let's face it. She's a suspect.
Right.
Guess what? The UK Wildcats are going to visit Barack Obama tomorrow. John Calipari and the Wildcats. And Anthony Davis has been chosen to be on the Olympic team this summer. You go, Anthony Davis. Represent.
Dream team number 2.
Jonathan Filma from the Saints, who put a $10,000 bounty on Werner and Brett Favre, suspended without pay. The top player in the NFL is now Carolina Panthers defensive end Charles Johnson, $34 million for 2011.
Cha-ching.
I don't even know who the heck that guy is. Bob Baffert's horse is the favorite. The Kentucky Derby, Bodemeister, was made the early 4-1 favorite. Hansen is 10-1. The 6th favorite. You know who's going to win. Hansen.
You know what's amazing about the Kentucky Derby? How many people did you say would show up for that thing? I know you had some number in the thousands, I think it was the other day. They get together for a race that lasts how long?
Just over 2 minutes. The only horse that's ran it less is Secretariat. Right. So it's like 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
But the fanfare, the preamble, all that goes on before and after, it's like that. And how much money do they bring in? That is incredible that you can make that out of less than a 2-minute sporting event.
That's a good point because it is over in 2 minutes.
That's it.
The Kentucky Oaks is Friday. I got invited to go, but because I'm too hard work. You know why my clients love me, TC?
Why is that?
Because I take care of each of them like they're my own. I return texts, I return emails, and so forth and so on. And like, for example, to do a radio show, and everybody still call me. Nobody thinks, well, he's doing radio. He didn't have time for my case. No. They know that I do.
Right.
Because I don't sleep. And then I come in and do Slap Happy Radio.
That's it. Slap Happy Radio.
Slap Happy Radio is the best radio. Let me see what else is in the news here. Bill Warren, treasure hunter, knows where bin Laden's body is.
It's in the ocean.
Oh, my gosh. He's trying to rent Russian deep diving equipment to locate it. Oh, my gosh.
Why?
Yeah, why? You want a terrorist to come to your house?
Hey, guys, look what I found. Bang.
Good golly. That's messed up.
You'd never make it to shore.
In legal news, Kate Edwards, God bless her soul, left the courtroom yesterday crying.
No, that's rough. That is
Man,
rough.
you know, to hear that stuff about your dad, your mom, it's rough.
Can you imagine what she's going through?
Sad. And how about this? A homeowners association is suing a returning Army veteran for having a swing set for his kids in his backyard. The Spring Lake Homeowners Association has filed a lawsuit against Bill Fry, an Army National Guard captain who recently returned from Afghanistan after serving overseas for a year, and his wife, Candy, she wasn't a former stripper, for not getting approval to put up the swing set. Now, rules.
Now, there's one, that's okay. Now, first of all, it's okay, but you got to get permission first to put it up, right? The guy just put his life on the line for how many tours overseas? You got to let some things slide, right?
Exactly. Let it slide.
Come on, guys, really?
And I wonder if it's just the code enforcer or like if a neighbor complained.
It's probably that one neighbor.
There's always that one neighbor.
The one neighbor with the big grill and the tiny wieners. They're upset over their station in life. They have nothing better to do than pry into other people's lives. Am I going too far with this?
No. And finally on legal news, hear about this guy. He got arrested by the DEA and put in jail for 5 days. They didn't know where it was. He drank his own urine. He was starving. He was dying of thirst. They said, sorry. 5 days without food and water, and he wasn't even charged with a crime.
Wow.
Wish I had that lawsuit.
Man versus wild.
I hope it wasn't in Kentucky. The Bulldog on Real Talk 1160.
Could have been. Don't forget you can listen to us live as you get to work. Plug in your computer. Hit that Google button. Go to realtalk1160.com. The listen live button. You can listen to everything we do all day long right here on Real Talk 1160. And now back to the Bulldog.
Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Anna. I love this song. You know who else I found out love this song?
Who's that?
Bulldog Nation member Chris Mackey, Trisha Mackey's husband, told me, he says, "Dog," he said, "when you played that song, I was like, someone else knows about the Kings."
Chris listens, huh?
Yes, he does.
Morning, Chris. He's a buddy of mine. You know that? We were going to go into business together.
Really?
Yeah, he was going to get me a patent for my invention, the nose hair trimmer.
That is right. Well, just let you know, he is registering all of the marks that we use here at the radio.
Really?
We can't do green water, apparently, because green water, there's too many. Although he's going to try to do it for green water for radio for us.
Well, can you believe that somebody else already made a nose hair trimmer?
I know.
I thought that was a unique idea.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's it.
Keep thinking, TC. You'll come up with one. You know you only need one.
Exactly.
And the next thing you know, Runco, or that one guy that sells that stuff that got...
Ron Popeil.
Yeah, and he made fun of himself in that one thing where he got arrested. He made fun of himself in the commercial. It was pretty good.
Real? Yeah, I bet he's a pretty funny guy, rich guy, too.
The Northern Kentucky Business Journal points out, this is something I thought was interesting, May, this month, is National Small Business Month. So all of you people out there, support small business. Somebody dropped off to my office, Friends of Coal. I am going to become Friends of Coal. And let me tell you something. This was fascinating. You know, Barack Obama has attacked coal industry. Do you know that mountaintop mining alone provides 60,000 jobs in Appalachia? A lot of jobs. For every coal mining job, an additional 3.5 jobs are created elsewhere in the economy. I mean, you know, just take it out of business. Bulldog Nation member, we broke a record yesterday, folks. I'm telling you, TC.
What happened?
Something is going on. We received yesterday about 28 new signups to the Bulldog Nation newsletter. Yeah, which, by the way, today, you'll be happy about this. We're putting Real Talk 1160 logo front and center. Nice. Getting the radio station, because if people are joining the newsletter, they're listening to the radio and vice versa. But I want to tell you something. We've never had that many. So there's something going on out there. We're building the audience. So all of you that listen or get the newsletter and you're a fan, if you're forwarding things and you're spreading the word that in the morning drive, tune into us, we are grateful. But here's some fan mail. This is from Bulldog Nation member Jack. "You need to stop talking to Glenn. When I hear him on there, I turn off the radio. 50% of the population is as ignorant of him. I listen to you to get away from people like that. He's probably creating his own following of listeners." I don't think so. "I personally see him trying to make you look like a fool." Nah, I ain't worried about that. "I have a personal friend just as ignorant when it comes to Obama. They have tunnel vision and always will. If he talks politics, the rest of us get up and walk away." I like this guy. He's a buddy of mine. Bulldog Nation member Jack, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Let me see. We got a promotion for May 3rd tonight at 6:30. Ellen Kitchens from CURE, Citizens United for Rehabilitation of Errants. I don't even know what that is, but I'll promote it. Might be some, what's being a neo-Nazi group or something I just promoted. Let me see. I got a great email about all the great things Romney did. I'm going to share that another day. But it's amazing the number of requests that we've got to join the nation. I mean, I'm pumped up about it. I also want to give a thumbs up in Oracle status to some public employees. As part of this thing for character and fitness, I had to send them my criminal record. I don't have any. My driving record, I'm good. Even my credit report. I'm thinking to myself, my God, who have I stiffed? Anyway, the Department of Transportation out in Florence gave me my driver's license, and the two people out there recognized my name, and they said, "Are you the attorney?" Eric Deters? I said, yeah. They were so nice to me. So I want to give it up to the Department of Transportation out at 8120 Dream Street, Florence, Kentucky. They deserve Oracle status. Good public servants. You know, we dog about public tax dollars, but if you are somebody who works for your local city, county, district, school district, and you work hard, God love you. You know, let's face it. It's just like anything. There's bad apples in the public sector, but there's also good public servants. And I came across two of them yesterday. This is a great story. Sean Maloney, my good buddy, who's running for the NRA board seat, sent me an email. He goes, the Ohio Coalition Against Gun Violence and several Democrats were targeting Margie Conditz, who had a fundraiser at a shooting range. And they went after her. You can't have a fundraiser at a shooting range, TC.
Oh, that's why?
Oh, my God, I don't know. And yesterday, we missed this, and I wanted to just bring it up. You know, it was kind of wild that we celebrate the birthday of Machiavelli. Yeah. Yesterday was the death of Leonardo da Vinci in 1519, age 67. We missed that. And then another one I had to bring up because it's just too great. 1863, Stonewall Jackson was shot and killed at Chancellorsville. He died I love this guy. I've read his biographies. I'm a expert on Stonewall Jackson. You know, his whole entire life, an incredible story. How he was killed was tragic. You know how he got his name, Stonewall?
How is that?
In the first battle of Bull Run, the Union had the Confederates on the run. This is true. They were going to win easily. And all of a sudden, Stonewall had his group of soldiers lined up and they on a hilltop, and they held that. And somebody pointed up and said, "Look, there's General Jackson like a stone wall."
Yeah.
And the name stuck. By the way, in today's article in the Enquirer, Jim Hanna mentioned that I call myself Bulldog. No, Chuck Martin of the Enquirer called me the Bulldog. And then Rich Wahlberg at that other place picked it up.
Is that right?
I didn't name myself Bulldog. I was named the Bulldog.
Because you would have named yourself Thunder Roll.
Thunder Rock.
Thunder Rock.
Thunder Rock.
Right.
Yeah, if I was going to name myself, it'd be Thunder. This is the Thunder Rock.
You know, very few people get to name themselves.
But you know what? I embraced the name because I'm not stupid.
Right.
If you wanted to hire a lawyer and his nickname was the Bulldog, I like that.
Right. Yeah.
As opposed to the Poodle. Or Wimpsack, you know. What's your nickname? Wimpsack.
Wimpsack.
I don't think I want to use you as a lawyer.
Anybody else in the office I can talk to?
Pfizer settled with Brigham Young over Celebrex royalties. $450 million. Apparently BYU had something to do with that development. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. I honored Bill Westerman. This is an interesting local story. This is great. Everybody knows about the Mahogany's loan that they got. You know this, Liz Rogers?
Right.
I'm representing a guy by the name of Doug Gundrum, who owned the Blue Note Cafe. And it's very fascinating that he applied for a loan, and they said, no, thank you. He's a lifelong Cincinnati resident. He has a history of operating successful establishment. He's going to create a new venue with more jobs. He bought a 28-acre piece of property. And he's like, how come she was approved? And I wasn't. And I'm not used to being ignored. Milton Dohoney, the city manager, Dohoney, has not responded to my letter. And get this, they had a dancing ordinance. You have to have a permit for a dancing ordinance. And this is a great judge in Hamilton Municipal Court, Russell Mock, on August 30th, 2011, found that unconstitutional.
Right. So you have to, in order.
I'm on the case.
So if you have a bar and people want to come in and dance in your establishment,
permit.
You have to have a permit, just like if you want to serve alcohol.
Kate Upton would have had to have a permit dancing in the stands where she was discovered on video that led to Sports Illustrated, on and on and on. I don't want to see any more dancing in stadiums in Major League Baseball without permits.
Are they allowed? Now, can you go over to UC game and start dancing? Do they have a dance permit there?
I don't know about UK, but I can tell you this. I mean, UC, the Castellinis and the Williams, they are fan friendly down at the ballpark, and they let you dance in the stands at Riverfront Stadium, American Ballpark, Great American Ballpark,
for free.
Okay. I don't know if the Browns. I don't know. They might veto dancing. I don't know, but I know the Castellinis will let you dance.
Well, that's good.
I've heard Phil Castellini's been known to dance out by the wiffle ball field. When we come back, more Radio Superbity on Real Talk 1160. This is the Bulldog, Eric Deters on Real Talk 1160. These are the views of the Bulldog and TC when he chimes in.
My part's the blah, blah, blah part.
513-579-1160. 513-579-1160. We call it Radio Superbity. We do it fast. We do it well. We do it thorough. We inspire, we entertain, and we inform. You can check us out on a podcast, a video cast on Real Talk 1160, on a Facebook page, and thebulldogsnation.com. It is now time. We kind of have some... What's that word we used yesterday? Begin with an F?
Frivolity.
Frivolity. I can't say that word. I admit I can't say it. But when we now get down to some serious stuff, it's called politics.
Oh, no.
The Democratic Convention is 4 months away. This is hilarious. They're $20 million short of raising $36.7 million, their goal, according to the Wall Street Journal. They've barred corporation and lobbyists from contributing. Watch, they'll change their mind. Now the labor unions are refusing to contribute the millions they did in 2008 because the way Obama's treated organized labor. Uh-oh. There's trouble with inside the tent. Dun, 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 dun.
So now how much money do they need actually for their convention? They need 37 for the convention? 37 million for the...
what the heck for?
Yeah, exactly. What are you guys serving for on the menu there?
Just look at the slush that people get paid. Like, I'm the party planner for the convention. They just get like $5 million check just right in the pocket.
I'm in charge of trays.
Yeah.
I got the meat tray.
We need to get in the convention business.
I guess we do. Why don't they just charge everybody, you want to come? That's $100.
Hey, I saw this on local news. John London reported this. Worth talking about conventions. Cincinnati, since 2005, half of the 24 cultural diversity, African American conventions, half of the 24 top conventions, half of them, 12, have been here in Cincinnati.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
I think a lot of that probably has to do with the reach out. I'm not going to give this up. I dog Mayor Mallory a lot. I think the fact that he's an African mayor probably he promotes that a lot. I got to give it up to him for that.
So that's all happened under
I'm
his
complimenting
watch
Mayor Mallory.
Since he's been mayor?
He's been mayor a while.
I mean, all that's...
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, they want to ride the streetcar. That's what people in town.
No, the streetcar's a different issue. Yeah, hey, you can hear me. He does the sales pitch of these conventions. And listen, we're going to have a streetcar you can ride?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go there and ride a streetcar. Now,
4 blocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, we alluded to this at the start of the show. Newt Gingrich yesterday announced his suspension of his campaign, which we made fun of yesterday because when why don't you say, I'm done, I'm over? Like, nobody ever brings back a suspended convention. The guy spoke for 15 minutes before even mentioning Romney, and then he said, is Mitt Romney conservative compared to Barack? He doesn't even endorse Romney, which is terrible. And you know what he did? He read his resume, folks. He talked about all the things he's done, and he's still going to be a citizen. I mean, Newt can't even get out of a race right.
I'll get out of the race, but you guys are going to have to listen to what I've got to say.
Boring. Wall Street Journal reports Rick Santorum is scheduled to meet with Mitt Romney. Now, remember, this is the guy now that has a Kim Kardashian crush. And he apparently had a crush on Lindsay Lohan. Santorum, you better be careful, buddy.
I'm not mad at
Remember,
him.
you're a happily married man.
At least he's, Lindsay's got good taste.
He's scheduled to meet with Mr. Romney on Friday, but he won't issue an endorsement then either, said Santorum spokesman. Maybe this was the problem with the Santorum campaign. His spokesman was Hogan Gidley.
Hogan?
Mr. Gidley said, Mr. Romney needs to clarify his stance on health care reform, defense, and social. You know what? If I'm Romney, I'm going to say, Rick, get on board or get the hell out. We don't need you. Oh, by the way, Jon Stewart yesterday, funny. He's talking about how dare, the Republicans, how dare Barack Obama politicizing the war. They showed clips of Bush doing it in these commercials all the time. And how about him flying in a jet, mission accomplished?
Right.
I mean, come on. And by the way, I'm an equal opportunity basher. I don't think Barack Obama should have did what he did, but neither should have George. I'm the worst president except Barack Obama Bush.
Did you know yesterday was the anniversary?
Stewart nailed him.
Yesterday was the anniversary of Mission Accomplished.
Oh, my God. Remember that? The big banner, Mission Accomplished. And then how many years later? Yeah, really accomplished that mission, Mr. President.
Stay course.
And he flew in the jet, because I used to be a National Guard. I didn't work anywhere, but I was a National Guard pilot.
Right.
I'd like to know how Bush became a National Guard pilot. I mean, I looked at those controls in those planes. It looks pretty complicated to me. George Bush goes, well, push this one forward. What's this one for? Oop. I push that one, I go back to Midland, Texas.
Because his
I push this one, I go to the White House. What if I push this one? That's the eject button. Better not push that one. Better not push that one. Wouldn't that have been hilarious if on the just think, on the way the Bush is coming in, he's landing the plane on the aircraft carrier, and he accidentally pushes the eject button. And
there goes
the President of the United States flying through the air.
Mr. President,
oh, I'm cracking myself.
You remember your parachute? What?
And then all of a sudden the boat's going around searching for him.
pair of shoes.
Is that Air Force One if he's in the air?
I don't know. I don't know.
Does the chair turn into Air Force One if he ejects?
The eject chair.
Gosh, that would have
Chair
been
Force
funny.
Air Force One.
That would have been funny.
Stay the course.
Mission accomplished.
Splash.
According to the Huffington Post, Romney met with about 60 writers, bloggers, and other non-mainstream media members to extend an olive branch to conservative media in an effort to spread the word of his campaign. Nothing like sucking up. How come I wasn't invited? I'm a blogger. Reverend Graham urges, watching the moral decline of our country causes me great concern, said Graham, 93 from Asheville. And he urged North Carolina voters to support a ban on gay marriage. Senator Lugar is locked in a tight battle against a Tea Party candidate, Richard Murdoch, Indiana's treasurer, who's attacked the 80-year-old incumbent for being too old. No, I'm just teasing. Too centrist and cooperative.
See, you don't like old people, huh?
No, I like old people, and old people like me.
Yeah.
Fox. Now, this is speaking of the Newt Gingrich. You know, I have to admit, Shepard Smith lately, he seems grumpy about lots of things. And sometimes I'm thinking, God, Shepard, you got up on the wrong side of the bed. But yesterday he did a great job on the Junior Seau event. And he also, he's sarcastic. I mean, they let him be sarcastic. And he's been really good lately with his sarcasm. In other words, I've agreed with Shepard Smith's sarcasm. This is what Shepard Smith said after Newt Gingrich's press conference, and I was watching in my office while I was working for my Ohio clients in my office with Fox News on. He says this, "Wow, well, I'm exhausted." And just to guess here, I'm not one who normally guesses at things. After all, we have to live by a set of facts, but I'm guessing both of you are exhausted as well. To the two guests. To the two guests. I mean, it was exhausting. He kept going and going. And I'm saying, this is incredible. He's reading his resume. And Shepard Smith goes, well, I'm exhausted. And he's been on Newt like, why haven't you gotten out of the race? You're not campaigning, but you're not getting out of the race. And
without a clue.
You know what cracks me up, TC? They always say they're doing it for America. Right. Newt's staying in there. He's staying in there for America.
Right. Sure.
Thanks, Newt.
Appreciate that. You want to do something for America? Grab a gun, put on an army suit, go to Afghanistan.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. I like that. And the economy, fuel prices are rising. From the Wall Street Journal, energy producers are showing the first significant signs of scaling back their natural gas output, responding to a glut that's driven prices to the lowest level in more than a decade. ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips, among the country's largest natural gas producers, said in recent days they reduced production in the first quarter and pledged to reduce drilling further in coming months on natural gas. And by the way, you talk about solutions. You know what? There is no better solution to the automobile energy issue, dependency on foreign oil, than natural gas cars. They already have natural gas cars. We have lots of natural gas. That is a solution till we perfect the electric car.
We could produce our own natural gas.
Exactly. Oh, well, that's a bad idea. Let me see here. We got more natural gas than any country in the world. We got all these cars. We have the technology now for these cars to run on natural gas.
And we have beans.
You know what we should do? We should create some more cylinders and put panels on top of cars. We need sunbeam panels on cars.
Go. Yeah.
When we come back, more Radio Superbity on Real Talk 1160.
Remember, Real Talk 1160 is on Facebook. You can keep tabs of your favorite talk show hosts and listen to live streaming. Be part of the conversation right here. Log on to Facebook.com/Real Talk 1160 and join in. Right now, join in with the Bulldog.
Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Delivering Radio Superbity. Remember the lineup here every day. It's yours truly for your Radio Superbity. Then Laura Ingram with Radio Addiction from 9 to noon. And then we have Savage Nation from noon to 3. Then we have Mike Huckabee from 3 to 5. And then Wild Man Walker, Rick the Brick, and Real Sports from 5 to 7.
Yes.
That's a lineup, baby. That's a lineup.
Star-studded. You know, I was just on Yahoo News, and I found that Kate Upton video.
Will you share at the break?
Ooh, I need a shower. I need my.
You know, let's pause for a moment and just have a discussion about this amongst the three of us and everyone listening. You know what? We just can't help it.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, you know, look, you're not allowed to touch, but we just can't help looking. I mean, it's just, you know, somebody talks about Kate Upton YouTube being pulled off. What's the first thing
can't type YouTube fast enough.
We got to at least see what it's all about.
Now, she was awfully generous with her performance, let's say.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and make a national confession. There's one particular website that I always check out when I hear about these things because it carries it all. And it's kind of like, I even tell my people in the office, I said, hey, sorry, but I checked that out because I am in a talk show business. I mean, I'm being serious about this. I mean, it's funny because I want to look at it anyway, whether I was on the radio or not. But at the same time, these things come up. You know, it's, you know, if they're going to talk about Kate Upton, you got to know what the heck you've seen, and call it an excuse. But ladies out there in Bulldog Nation, we men, beautiful woman, we look.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help it.
Take it as a compliment.
I mean, you know, and you know what? The women who look good know we do.
They have to know. They have to.
In fact, let's talk conspiracy for a minute. Yeah. Why do women get, they're leaving their husbands or boyfriends and they're going to work or they're going out. Why do they get all dressed up looking so beautiful? Now, I heard this, that they get dressed up that way to impress the women, that they want the women to say, oh, she's pretty. And I'm like, Boulder Dash. I mean, what are we supposed – it's like the woman that looks real good. And if you pay them a compliment or say something, they get mad. What?
Right.
Don't get so dressed up. Like, women should not be allowed to wear cleavage to work. Now, if they're wearing cleavage to work, is a guy not supposed to look?
It's hard not to.
I mean, come on. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
what
really.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Well,
Nothing.
Excuse me. Cover your cleavage.
And you put your hands up to your eye like, yeah, so about that. No, can't do it. Can't do it.
What brought this up? What?
Kate
That's
Upton.
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton.
Isn't she like 19 or 20 years old or something?
Oh, really? You're going to make me feel guilty about this.
This is in the effing exams. I just want to share a few of these every once in a while. What was the main industry in Persia? Cats. The race of people known as the Malays come from which country? Malaria. Name the smaller rivers that run into the Nile. The juveniles. This sounds like, now this might be the best in here. This sounds like a series of Rodney Dangerfield jokes. I tell you, if this, you know, you said, they claim these are real answers that they asked people to send to them, and these weren't made up. This has got to be the funniest one of all. Name 6 animals that live specifically in the Arctic. Now, you're like me. Okay, penguin, bears. 2 polar bears, 4 seals.
That's 6. They got the math part right.
Now, I want to tell you something. If I was the teacher and they said, name 6 animals that live specifically in the Arctic, and they answered 2 polar bears and 4 seals, I'm giving them an A. I got a sense of humor. I'm saying, man, this kid deserves an A.
I'd say you demote him back to first grade.
I mean, name one famous Greek landmark. The most famous. And you know how it always, like, you don't know the answer. You write some introductory language because you don't know.
Right.
Name one famous Greek landmark. The most famous Greek landmark is the Apocalypse.
Oh. I thought you were going to say Acropolis Chili.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is the best answer of all time. Where was the Declaration of Independence signed? Now you think Philadelphia, Independence Hall. Where was the Declaration of Independence signed? At the bottom. I would flaunt that kid. That is too smart, aleckly. That kid would get an F.
You know, my brother had a philosophy exam when he went to Miami. He said there was a question on his final. The question was, why? That was the question. Do you know what he answered?
What?
Why not?
I love it.
He got it right.
How high is Mount Everest? Depends how much snowfall it has had since it was last measured. I'm telling you, we've all been there, folks. You know what? I mean, there was times when you're sitting there thinking, okay, how can I answer this question? Like a law school exam. This is funny. I took the Kentucky bar, passed, the Ohio bar, passed, Florida bar, passed every section but the essay section, which I had to take again. So I took 4 bar exams in a row. Wow. But I flunked the essay exam, and the reason why is there was a question that I thought was a property question. No, it was about the Florida State Constitution, which I did not study. So I got a 0. I got a 0 on this question. I'm sure the examiners were reading this and going, what the heck is this guy talking about?
Now, you didn't use any of those answers in that book for the essay part, did you?
No, but I think I was probably... Well, let me discuss, like, for example, the first thing you do when you don't know the answer is you repeat the question. Well, it kind of gets the mind run. That's why when people say which you never want to say on the radio, when I listen to other radio shows and they say or they're speaking and going you're like, man, don't use And what means is you're thinking. Like the police officer pulls you over. What is all that cocaine doing in your back seat? Thinking, what can I say to this cop?
The correct answer is...
A friend just left it in my car.
What cocaine, officer? I don't see any cocaine.
The plate is stupid. You got to prove it is there.
I think what's better off, rather than just look like you're an idiot, just write, Dear Professor, I went out and drank last night. I didn't study for this exam. Here's my paper.
I had somebody, a friend. I'm not gonna say anything that this would reveal who it was, and I'm suspended in Kentucky, so I referred it to somebody in the county where this happened. But this poor kid, man, clean record, going to college, going to work. He works, goes to college, everything else. The first time ever, somebody asks him, hey, can you drive this over there?
Oh, no.
For a few bucks? This great kid goes, sure, I can drive that over there. Busted.
Wow.
Arrested. I mean, it's like the luck. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, if you're not a professional criminal, you're going to get busted the first time you try to do something.
Right.
You're going to get busted.
Well, they've got those places like... I think it's called like Rent-A-Wreck, but there are other places like that where, say, you're a college student, you're going to school in Florida, and you live in Ohio, and you want to come home for spring break, but you don't have a ride. People will pay you pretty much, say if you're moving or whatever, pay you to drive a car for them, okay? And you're a college kid thinking, this is great, I'm going to get paid to drive home. I got, transportation, and there's something in the back that you don't know about.
And I can tell you right now what I know for a fact in Kentucky, Ohio, and around this country, law enforcement is plugged in because it's such a bad problem with prescription drug, drug traffic. I mean, they're on it like green. Yeah. And I tell you right now, the problem is so bad. It's so prolific. Kids are getting out of school these days. Not to end this segment on a downer, but kids are getting out of school these days, high school. They don't have jobs. They're bored. It's like, what am I going to do? Well, life of crime.
Yeah.
It's all Obama's fault. When we come back, we'll have more Radio Superbity. I'm having a great show this morning. I hope you're enjoying it. TC and I love delivering it to you. The Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Barracuda. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. We got a great treat from you, audio, here in a second. But before we request it, I got to set the stage for it. In Arlington, Virginia, which is a battleground state, Mitt Romney last evening was speaking to a group of high-dollar fundraisers at the Ritz-Carlton, and he poked fun at President Obama's newly unveiled campaign slogan, Forward, remarking, forward what, over the cliff? When you think about that, that's pretty bad, like going forward, forward to where? At first, Romney seemed kind of to muddle the president's campaign slogan, but his slogan is progress, no forward. Forward, that's it. Progress would be better. I might use that one myself, actually. The fundraiser where donors could pay anywhere between $2,500 and $10,000, and I've been to these things, folks. It's so hilarious. You pay X dollars, you get to see the speech. You pay X dollars, you get to shake his hand. You get X dollars, you get to have that private audience in the porta potty with him. I mean, it's just unbelievable, these payments. And I used to go to him for George Bush. I went to one on the Farish Farm down in Midway where I got to shake George Bush's hand. I paid a lot of money, but they cheated me out of a picture, so I snuck underneath the rope and got the picture anyway. 2 print reporters were allowed inside the hotel on behalf. There were no television. But I was thinking about this, that, Mitt Romney, this forward thing, he could make fun of that a great deal. And somehow Romney needs to contact the estate of Chris Farley and somehow incorporate Chris Farley's message into a campaign ad against Barack Obama about, the bottom line is, if we reelect, this is great, if we reelect Barack Obama, we're all going to live in a van down by the river.
Occupying the van, occupying the river, huh?
Do you know that? That might be the case. I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, he's got to use that. I'm giving that. If there's somebody out there, Rob Portman, if you're going to be the VP, you got to tell him to say, we have to use the Chris Farley line that if you reelect Barack Obama, we're all going to be living in vans down by the river.
Now, speaking of Barack Obama, before we went into the Huckabee Report, you made a comment, and you seem to want to blame every problem in the world on Barack Obama. And I take issue with that. That's really not fair to Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she put in some effort, too.
That's a good point.
We
Harry
give her
Reid,
credit.
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that how Harry Reid blocks any budget, he blocks any real reform, but he supported that poetry reading for Las Vegas.
He's the econ blocker.
Good golly. He used to be a boxer, too. Put up those dukes. I guess if I fought Harry Reid, I wouldn't have to be, feel bad about fighting an older guy because he was a boxer.
Yeah.
Defend yourself, Harry.
He might still have some skills there. I don't know.
To prove that we may all be living in a van down by the river, our national debt is now only $15,700,643 million. I need to remind you guys this every once in a while. That's $50,000 per person. Do you have that lying around? If you're a taxpayer, $138,000. By the way, if you're a taxpayer, so the person, how does somebody that's living on government, how do they come up with $50,000 to pay their portion, TC? That's not good.
They borrow it.
It's not good. No. The actual unemployed is 22 million people. Social Security unfunded mandate is $15 trillion. Prescription drugs, $20 trillion. Thank you, George Bush and the Democrats. That's when they got together and sang Kumbaya and say, let's do this for everybody. Let's give everybody free drug. Hey, by the way, we got a prescription drug problem. Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that they basically are giving prescription drugs away?
Could be.
Medicare is on, Social Security, $15 trillion. Prescription drugs, $20 trillion. Medicare, it's only $82 trillion. That's all unfunded. $118 trillion unfunded mandates. Social Security, prescription drugs, Medicare. Per taxpayer, TC, you're a taxpayer. Do you have $1,045,619 lying around?
I do not. Why don't we just file bankruptcy with China?
I agree.
We just won't buy a new car for 7 years because our credit's going to be messed up.
Here, this is funny. This is the bankruptcy petition in the United States of America. List all liabilities. China. $20 trillion.
China.
Social Security. Prescription drugs. Medicare. Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Just list them all.
Just charge them all.
Assets. Grand Canyon Park. Yellowstone National Park. Washington Memorial. Lincoln. And all
Kate
the
Upton.
Kate Upton, a national treasure. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, we would not do this, but others might during a break watch the YouTube video of Kate Upton. And if you did, you might be horrified at the dance.
or if you may have watched it, you might be going, hubla, 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 hubla,
Hubla, hubla, hubla, hubla, hubla, hubla.
which is probably what I would have done if I would have seen the video.
If you would have seen it. And, it's a good thing that we didn't stoop to that level. We didn't want to stoop to that level at all.
All right, come on, we did.
We
Come on.
admit it. We did. We watched it.
Those wieners got plump on the grill right away.
And I think we're better for it. I really do.
I do too. I really do. Thank you, Kate.
I mean, she got in great shape to do that. By the way, what it is, she danced in the same swimsuit that she posed in with the cover of the
Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated.
Hey, there must have been a wardrobe malfunction. I don't think the top fit exactly right. It seemed like.
I agree. Hey, how about this? This is the latest on the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman. On a social media page, Zimmerman, who is white and Hispanic, writes about missing his friends in Manassas, Virginia, and starting his own insurance agency. And he makes the reference to a pair of restraining orders. And he apparently speaks disparagingly about Mexicans.
See?
I can hear this defense. I can hear this defense now by Zimmerman at the trial. When he's on the stand, his lawyer's questioning him, and he says, "Are you prejudiced or biased against African Americans?" No, not at all. I mean, I just don't like Mexicans.
Oh, well, let him go.
And look, this is a social page, so the jury's going to say, see, he's only prejudiced towards Mexicans, not African Americans.
I want to go back to, you said there are a couple of restraining orders. Is he not allowed back in the state of Virginia?
He makes reference to a pair of restraining that he and his ex-fiancee filed against each other in 2005.
Oh,
By the way,
okay.
when you're dealing with that kind of thing, you have to just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
In other words, it's one of those things where when spouses are, nailing each other, it's kind of like, give me a break. They make stuff up. One thing on sports, you mentioned this at the break, and we forgot to mention, and I think this is big enough to mention now. Yeah. Jared Weaver of the Los Angeles Angels pitched a no-hitter, 29 years old, against Minnesota.
Can you imagine that?
They really stink. No-hitter. I've been close once in Seattle and had it broken up in the 8th. Man, that stinks. One thing I haven't followed lately is I wonder how good old, help me out here, first baseman.
Tony Perez, the big dog.
No, the Cardinals first baseman. I can't think of his name that went to the
Pujols.
Albert Pujols. Yeah.
Pujols.
He'd only had like 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
They scored 9 runs last night, so maybe he did better. One of the things that we put on the blog and the newsletter, and we don't mention on the radio, the national average of unleaded gasoline is $3.08. Excuse me. Yeah, $3.80. Excuse me.
Okay, $3.80.
And you know what, TC? That is going to be an election time, big time issue. I mean, if gasoline stays high, man, that cuts into the spending, and we're going to be going into the summer months where people drive more, people take that summer vacation.
So in 2007, when gas prices shot up, we were about where we are now, right?
Right, but they went way back down.
Yep.
It was like $1.80 or something when Obama took office, so it makes him look bad.
Yeah, right. I missed that day.
It was. No, it was. It was way down. It's doubled under Obama.
But I don't think did it really drop that much? Maybe down to 2 something, but.
No, it went under $2.
Really? Wow.
So I happen to be one of the owners of a chain of gas stations, so I know this. I'm a retailer.
Well, next time you drop it below $2, give me a call.
You have those wars, and everybody loses money. What really stinks is you're not allowed to break the law and do antitrust. Like, it'd be nice to call up Speedway and the other gas stations around town and say, hey, let's all put the price at XYZ. They used to do that back in the day.
Yeah.
Now it's illegal.
So even if you guys decided, hey, we're feeling generous, we're going to cut the price of gas by $1 a gallon, they'd get upset with you.
No, not if you do it unilaterally. In fact, if you're never near a Speedway does that all the time. They cut. Do
they?
All gas retailers hate Speedway. Why? Because they sell gas too cheap. The consumer wins. The retailers suffer.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I
wouldn't say suffer, but.
The consumer wins. The consumer wins. We care about the consumers. When we come back, we'll have more Radio Suburban. And by the way, this Top Gun song, they're going to come out with a Top Gun 2, and Tom Cruise is in it. The Bulldog. The Avengers is coming on Real Talk 1160.
And remember, of course, if you miss any part of Bulldog Nation this morning, you can catch up on it with the podcast. Just go to realtalk1160.com and you'll find Bulldog Podcast from Bulldog Nation right here on Real Talk 1160. And now back to the Bulldog.
Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. It's time to move our attention to these serious issues of the day, which involve the Avengers. Starts at midnight tonight.
Are you going?
The Avengers. No, let me tell you something. I went to see the last Star Wars movie at midnight,
So did
the
I.
last Superman movie at midnight, the last Batman movie, and I regret it every time. It's like, I could have waited a day because you're just tired. And this is goofy. I stay up all night working at home, but if I go to a movie at midnight, I'm exhausted. It's weird. But if you did not know, folks, The Avengers comes out at Friday night. It's going to be a blockbuster movie because you have in the movie Iron Man. Robert Downey's great in Iron Man. Tony Stark, he's the lead. But you also have Thor, which just had their big movie. Captain America. The Hulk, which is played by Mark Ruffalo now. This is the third Hulk player. But the Hulk. You also have the Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, and Hawkeye. And they are going to save America from evil. The Avengers. By the way, Hawkeye and Black Widow were not part of the original Avengers.
Oh, they weren't? No, they weren't. Were
They were not. The Wasp was, and who else was? I forget.
You're also missing Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury.
That's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a radio name.
Absolutely. It's like that football player from down in Trinity in Louisville who's going to be, they're going to love him. His name is Quick. What's your name? Quick. You're a wide receiver? Nike's going to get, we won him.
Exactly.
What's your name? Quick.
That's it.
Nick Fury. That's good. It's like Thunder Rock. There needs to be maybe that's what we can talk. Bulldog Nation can get into comic books, and our first comic book hero will be Thunder Rock.
Thunder Rock, yeah.
What will his powers be?
He plays guitar.
TC, gotcha. Wasn't there's been some movies making fun of like people that wanted to be superheroes, and I could see that guy, like Ben Stiller was in it. But I could know. What do you do? I play the guitar.
I play the guitar really bad.
Well, now wait a minute, TC. Let's take this to its conclusion. Thunder Rock, because it does have rock in it, like a different kind of rock.
Right.
He plays the guitar. What happens to the people that listen to Thunder Rock's guitar music? Do they like pass out? Do they die? What happens?
They start yelling. They start screaming. They chant. They start going, na, 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 yay! Okay.
And the other big event this week, got the Avengers. What else has happened this week? The Kentucky Derby is huge in Kentucky. Yeah. Everybody's a Kentuckian. The ladies will be out there with their hats and their mint juleps. I wonder if Kate Upton will be at the Derby to go out in the infield, which is kind of famous for partying, and do her YouTube dance out there.
Man, I don't know. You think they'd allow that? If they do it, you won't see it on television.
Let me tell you an inside secret, too, folks. They pay for these stars to come. Yeah. I learned that from they used to have the at the Turfway Park when they had their big race, the Spiral Stakes, and I got to meet Chuck Norris and these other. Like, these guys. Cool. I found out that they pay them to come, and then they act like, I wouldn't have missed this race for the world.
Exactly.
Right. I come in for $25,000 just to show up and hang out at the race for a day.
And then you see the picture in the paper the next day. Look at all the celebrities that were there. So
yes,
next year,
yes.
I'm going to go to that.
I'm sure John Calipari. What about Calipari's day? He's been at the Reds. They're going to the White House on Friday. Saturday, Calipari will be at the Derby where he'll be worshipped like a king. Well, it's Louisville. They'll still like him.
Yeah,
it's still Kentucky Derby.
They'll have to forgive him.
But the Kentucky Derby. Anything else big happening this weekend, TC, that you can think of?
For some reason, I was thinking that one of the counties in northern Kentucky might be having their you have junk that you leave out or whatever. You can get rid of all that stuff, and I can't remember exactly if it's Kenton County or something, but I got to check.
The Reds are playing in town. I think they play the Pirates, don't they? I mean, the Reds are in town this weekend.
Reds are in town. Oh, UC plays this weekend. Oh, they changed the game on the UC game. They're playing at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
We've said this before, and it's great, living in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati area. There is always, it's a great place to live. There's always something to do, including nothing. You can enjoy just sitting at home. But The only thing we need is we need an NBA team and an NHL hockey team.
We could call them the Royals.
I love the Cyclones, by
or
the way.
the Stingers.
I love the Cyclones, but it'd be cool to have NHL hockey. Old-time hockey. and then as far as the Royals, the Royals were good.
Yeah.
They had the Big O. I mean, they had a good team. They had Jerry Lucas. Somebody who coached the Royals for a little bit, and they're connected to tennis in the tri-state, is the Wolf family. Charlie Wolf, who went to Latin school with my father, was the coach of the Cincinnati Royals for a year or two. Charlie Wolf. In fact, I think he might have been their last coach before they went to Kansas City.
Okay. Pittsburgh is a steel town. They have the Steelers. Cincinnati is a green town. We will have the Greeners.
Oh, my goodness, the Greeners.
The Greeners.
Green water, the official drink of the Cincinnati Greeners.
Exactly.
We need to get Chuck Holbrook claims that he's buddies with Phil Castellini.
Yeah.
He claims that. We need to, I guarantee you Chuck's sending me a text right now. I am too. We ought to talk to him about, can we get green water inside the Great American Ballpark?
Yeah.
Can you imagine sales of that great tasting, slimy living green water if we made it inside Great American Ballpark?
Phenomenal. Through the roof.
513-579-1160 if you have one last second call. It is going to be a great weekend except the thunderstorms. But one thing about thunderstorms is they come and then they go. They don't stick around. It's not like it's going to be rainy all weekend. Let's just hope there's thunderstorms and they leave town. So, God, it feels like Friday right now, but it's not. It's only Thursday. Remember, every dog has their day. I will be back tomorrow with more Radio Superbity. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulldog with 3 L's. Facebook at Eric Deters on Real Talk 1160. I write for the Highland County Press and the Journal News. Also a blog daily, Real Talk 1160 and BulldogsNation.com. And we have had record numbers of people signing up. So I want to thank everybody for that. Remember, you can always email me at eric@ericdeters.com. Whatever is on your mind, and I will always respond. Also, text me at 859-250-2527. 859-250-2527. Thank goodness that Newt Gingrich is finally out of the race. He held on a little bit too long, but that's just life. Sometimes people hold on too long, don't they, TC? They just hold on too long.
Are we still talking about Mr. Newt? I was on the phone. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just
said holding on too long.
No, I mean, Newt Gingrich, man, he just finally is out of this race. And I don't know, I think Jon Stewart nailed it right. But what Barack Obama is doing, using this, and they're all up in arms about it. Well, the Republicans did the same thing. That's going to stay a hot issue. I think the occupiers will be hot. We'll probably have some news on that tomorrow. We'll probably have some more news on Junior Seau and his assassination. Not assassination. Not assassination. See, I got that killing.
Your Freudian slip is showing.
His suicide or his murder, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Did you notice John
By the
Belmont
way,
on the new? Oh, go ahead.
Do you think it would be funny if somebody told a joke about Stonewall Jackson committing suicide instead of being shot by his own men at Chancellorsville?
So, UC Bearcats are playing this weekend. New game time, 1 o'clock. Steve Jarnicki has a call.
How are the Bearcats doing? What's their record this year? They doing well?
No, not really. Not really. They don't do too well. They're not doing too well at all.
Steve, when he started doing the Simon Kenton Pioneers, he picked the perfect year. They were rocking and rolling in football. Then this year they had a great year in basketball. Jarnicki usually got a pretty good nose for what's hot.
Yeah.
And he works his butt off selling advertising and doing a good job. Right. We are blessed to have Steve Jarnicki as part of this radio station.
We are.
Patty Euclid, not so much. Oh, there's Patty. I didn't see Patty walk in there. Hey, Patty, our sales lady here at the radio station. By the way, if you want to be part of the Bulldog Nation or Real Talk 1160, you can email me at eric@ericdeters.com, and I will forward you to Patty Euclid, who will give you a deal.
Like that guy with the truck that was helping your wife the other day.
Yes.
The guy was loading up your truck.
That's right. The Stone Company in Richwood. Every dog has their day. I hope tomorrow is yours. We will be back with more Radio Superbity tomorrow. Jay Garrett, Jack Wagon Hall of Fame, with Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama on Real Talk 1160.